Okay, there we go. Okay. So as was indicated, as it was advertised, this is a presentation of a program called Smashball that's designed for children in grades 1 to 6. Certainly, I've used it with kindergartens and also with older children, grade 7 as well. I'm just going to quickly go over this because I think that all of you were in the presentation last week. A little bit of background of my background, my training, my university training, my training as a coach, level 2 certification. I was a classroom teacher, as I mentioned before. I worked as a consultant, and I worked for a year as an adjunct professor at the University of Regina in the Faculty of Education. I've coached a variety of sports over my tenure as a teacher and as a parent coach, predominantly volleyball, but a variety of sports. Volleyball has been all high school, 9 and 10, what we call junior high or junior level in Regina, and some senior ball as well, both boys and girls. I've coached for club volleyball for many years. I don't anymore, but I did. I coached everything from 14 and under to 18 and under, as well as some time with the provincial team. I'm retired now. I've been retired since 2009, so quite some time ago. I've done a little bit of consulting since then. I've done a little bit of teaching at the high school and university level, but since 2012, I've been the program coordinator of grassroots programming for Sask Volleyball, which means I oversee basically all of volleyball from kindergarten to grade 8. Last week, I talked about the elementary volleyball program, which is a grade 1 to 6 program that's promoted and provided by Volleyball Canada. Tonight, I'm going to talk about Smashball. I also look after, oversee the 13 and under and 14 and under age class programs. That's the club program. Tonight, what I want to do is I want to share with you just a little bit of background about Smashball. What is it? What are the goals of Smashball? What does the program try to do? What is it attempting to achieve? I'm going to talk about two programs. One is called Smashball FUNdamentals, and the other one is called Smashball Learn to Train. There are parallels, but they're actually designed for two different age groups, and that's where those of you that have children in the K to 6 range, these will be ideally suited or could be ideally suited for you. I'll talk briefly about how Smashball can relate to other volleyball programs. What are the adaptations we make for Smashball? What are they and why do we make them? I'll talk about how Smashball is played, and then talk about an example that is on our website of a I call it a Smashball progression, but it's a progression or different levels of Smashball that can be suited to the ability level of the children that you're working with. Smashball is, as I've indicated here, it's a volleyball. It's a gameplay variation. The emphasis is on attacking, is on spiking, is on hitting. It was first developed in the Netherlands in 2007 to try to address a need to encourage more boys to participate in volleyball. I mean, one of the most dynamic parts of the sport is hitting. So it's a way to, I guess, make the sport a little more inviting. The Smashball that I'm going to talk about tonight combines skill development and gameplay. The actual game of Smashball is a game, but when I talk about Smashball FUNdamentals, Smashball Learn to Train, I'm going to be talking about skill development activities and how those can be used, applied in the game of Smashball. The goals, very simple. The goals of Smashball is we want to make volleyball appealing to the younger players or younger children. We want it to be fun, and we want them to enjoy participating in volleyball. I'm going to talk very briefly about the goals of the two programs. Smashball FUNdamentals, as you can see here, is designed for grades 1 to 3, so roughly ages 6 to 8 in terms of boys Sometimes they fit into the 9-year-olds fit into this category, but roughly ages 6 to 8. The program is designed to help develop and children learn and develop basic movement and motor skills and some of the game tactics and rules of volleyball. Now, what you're seeing here are some parallels with what I talked about last week with the elementary volleyball program, because the two of them have actually been melded together to produce the Smashball program, as I'll indicate as we go along. So the fundamentals program for our younger children is all about the developing movement skills, motor skills, and movement patterns, and being able to use those then in a game called Smashball. So it's a combination of developing skills and then using them in a gameplay situation. Smashball Learn to Train is sort of the next progression. It's the next age group up. It's designed for grades 4 to 6, so roughly ages 9 to 11 years. I have used it with 12-year-olds quite successfully as well. Now, this program is designed to introduce basic volleyball skills. So we're trying to teach the children how to spike or attack the ball, how to forearm pass, how to overhead pass or set, and how to serve. And then the children can use those skills while playing Smashball. So that's how the two of them fit together. The Smashball itself is the game, and the fundamentals and Learn to Train are ways to incorporate or teach skills that are then incorporated into the Smashball gameplay. As I just indicated, the Smashball fundamentals is based on actually long-term athlete development, the fundamental stage, and it's fundamental movement skills, motor skills that we're trying to build and develop. And examples of these, and those of you who were with me last week, it's a repeat of what I had talked about there at the fundamental stage. These are some of the movement skills and motor skills that we're trying to develop, and we develop it through activities and then through gameplay. Things like throwing, catching, striking, jumping. That's the intent of the fundamentals program, is to develop these skills and movement patterns while playing or apply them in playing Smashball. The Learn to Train, again, we're focusing on skill development, but we're also incorporating teamwork, fair play, and that is through gameplay experience. Again, the skills that we're trying to develop, all the basic skills: hitting, overhead passing or setting, forearm passing, serving, and blocking. In terms of how does this fit, or how does it relate to other levels of volleyball or other forms of volleyball that maybe you're more familiar with? Obviously, the Smashball fundamentals are for our youngest children, grades 1 to 3, which leads into, or can lead into, the Smashball Learn to Train. Then the progression would be, in our province anyway, triple ball, which is designed for the 13 and under athletes. And then that leads into school programs. And a school program clearly here could also be grades 7 and 8 in elementary schools. I know that you play traditional volleyball, so school volleyball and club volleyball. So that's the sort of the age and grade level progression. In terms of the gameplay format, Smashball fundamentals gameplay, some of the gameplay is 1-on-1, some of it's 2-on-2. The largest number of athletes that we would have playing in a Smashball game would be 3. So 3-on-3. Fewer players, more contacts, more participation, more involvement. The Smashball Learn to Train, typically we start with a 2 versus 2 format, 3-on-3, and then occasionally progress to 4-on-4. I prefer not to do that myself in programs that I run, but some jurisdictions use a 4-on-4 format. Then that leads into triple ball, which is a 6-on-6. It's a modified version of 6-on-6 volleyball. And then the more traditional or standard volleyball that you would play in your school programs or in our club programs, is 6-on-6. So you can see here the progression. We're going from fewer participants on the court, so there's more touches, more contacts, to the more standard, and eventually the standard 6-on-6 volleyball. Now, in terms of, I'll call it competition, where does it fit? Smashball Fundamentals is certainly, it's intended as a recreational program. It's all about developing motor skills, developing movement skills. So it's purely recreational. There's no competitive component to it. Smashball Learn to Train typically is a recreational program. However, some jurisdictions, and in fact, at a couple of First Nations youth volleyball championships, we've actually used Smashball as the competitive format. So it can lead into, or can be used in a competitive way. Typically, it's a recreational form or format. Triple ball is competitive. So when we use triple ball, and we do in Saskatchewan for our 13 and under age class programs, it's competitive. Scores kept. There's winners and losers, that kind of thing. And then that, of course, leads into school and club ball, where it's standard volleyball, and that's competitive. So this is just just to give you an idea of how the Smashball programs can lead into, and eventually do end up with, sort of a competitive volleyball format. So how is the game played? So what is Smashball? As I indicated earlier, it's a variation of volleyball that emphasizes hitting, attacking, spiking. Now, what makes it unique is that off of an attack, so if where two teams are playing and I'm on the receiving team, the other team is hitting the ball at me, at my team, the receiving team can catch the ball in the air, or they can catch it off of one bounce and the rally continues. So there isn't this need to pass a hit ball. It can be caught in the air or caught off of a bounce, and the rally continues. And you'll see how this plays out. I've got some video clips that I'm going to show you a little bit later. Now, in the introductory progressions, and I'll talk more about this as well, with our youngest athletes, and even starting out with our youngest athletes in the fundamental levels, and even our learn to train kids, the initial progressions are a catch and toss method of ball movement. So that's the pass, the way that we pass the ball. And again, we want to encourage rallies, and this is a way to do it. So we're not focused on having refined skills of being able to pass a hit ball. The toss and catch enables us to maintain rallies and actually encourages a lot of hitting. Now, as you'll see as I go through this, as the player's skills progress, in other words, as they learn how to forearm pass, overhead pass, and serve, we incorporate those into the gameplay. So there's a progression. As their skills improve, then they're incorporated into the gameplay, so that the game becomes more like traditional volleyball. Now, as I'd indicated before, if you feel a need to stop, there's something, just a burning question, by all means, just unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, I'll soldier on here. Some of the adaptations that we make to the standard game of volleyball, we use lower nets. So we use nets that are appropriate to the age of the children and the size of the children. So, for example, kindergarten, grade 1, 2, and 3, badminton nets work really well. We use a smaller court, so a badminton court, or as you can see in the photograph here, a volleyball court that's divided in half. And what that allows you to do is you've got a smaller court width-wise. Typically now, this was early on, this was a number of years ago. Now I actually make the court a little bit shorter as well, just so that there's a little less area for the children to have to cover. The distance in the middle is about a meter. There's no standard size for Smashball courts. That's basically what I use when I'm setting up. courts. And the to put the dividers, I just use painter's tape. Painter's tape, you can put it down. Just a word of advice: don't leave it down for like months on end, because it is very, very difficult to get up, to pull up if you leave it on for that length of time. That's the voice of experience talking here. And the game is played with a lighter volleyball. So there are ultralight volleyballs. The one that I like to use is a Mikasa VUL 500. It's a little bit lighter than traditional volleyball, so it's easier for the children, especially the younger children. Now, this is an example of Smashball being played. It's the most basic level. It's level 1, and in this, what you're going to see, that you can see two two children here. There are two on the other side of the net, and the player that receives the ball runs to the net, tosses the ball to themselves, and hits it over. There's no video or no audio here, so that you won't hear anything. So here you see the catch and hit. And you can see here, we're not really horribly concerned about technique or anything like that. It's all about movement and this notion that we're attacking the ball, we're hitting the ball to the other side of the net. You can see here that they haven't divided the court, which is no big deal. But if you had lots of children, you probably would want to do that. This is a more advanced level of Smashball, and I'm going to talk about different levels in just a few minutes, but this is to give you a sense of what Smashball looks like. So again, we've got 2-on-2 Smashball here. There is narration here, so I'll turn it over to the narrator.
This is an excellent game focused on hitting. The net should be set approximately at the height of the average player. The rally starts with the player hitting the ball with one hand overhead over the net. After a bounce, the player catches, then throws the ball to his partner at the net, who passes it along the net to finish with a hit with one hand. The hit must bounce within the playing boundaries.
So in that last example, you saw the first one we saw was Volleyball Canada calls it level 1. The last one we saw was level 3. Volleyball Canada's level 3, and you'll notice that they were using they were overhead passing. They were setting the ball. They were jumping sometimes to hit the ball. They were using some forearm passes. So those children were starting to incorporate some of the skills that they had learned as part of the Smashball program. Those children in doing the level 3 would be the Smashball Learn to Train. They would have developed some of the basic volleyball skills. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about some of the resources that are available to support the program, and I'll talk more about these as well at the end of this as well, but just to give you a sense of what's some of the resources that are available. Those of you who were with me last week, I talked about the elementary volleyball program, Volleyball Canada. That's what the VC stands for, Volleyball Canada's elementary volleyball program. It serves as the source of the activities and the simple little games that are part of this program. On our Sask Volleyball website, there are a number of training suggestions and examples, and I'll talk more about these in a minute, but there's a sort of a big picture framework of 8 sessions that I've developed to support, or as an example of a training program that could be used with our youngest athletes, our grades 1 to 3 children, and also then detailed plans. So if there are activities or little games in the program that you're wondering how should this be done or how could this be done, I've outlined detailed plans that explain sort of how the activity is run, what you can expect to see, how you can modify it based on the level of your children. And then some gameplay progressions. In other words, different levels of Smashball. So we saw an example of level 1. We didn't see an example of level 2, but I showed you a level 3. So just what are the differences between those levels? What changes are there? What progressions are being made? Now, this gives you an example. This next slide is an example of I call it the big picture. That's my mindset. I prefer to see everything sort of in a one pager. So this is an example of a summary of originally a 6-session program. This is on our website, and I'm going to show you where, if you are interested after the fact, where you would be able to find something like this. But I've got it divided into sections. Let me just pardon me, into sessions. So there's 6 sessions in this particular one. In each session, there's a warm-up. There are little activities and games that are part of the training session, and then the Smashball that is at the end of it. So as I'd indicated earlier, the Smashball fundamentals, the Smashball Learn to Train, it's a combination of, I'll call it training, little activities and games in the case of fundamentals, and then using that in a Smashball game. So here's an example. And again, I think everybody here was part of the elementary session last week. Here's an example of where I've incorporated a number of the Volleyball Canada elementary program activities in session 1. And then we use those to play level 1 Smashball, which you saw just a minute ago. Now, with the fundamentals, with the children ages 6 to 8, I would not have them hitting the ball, attacking the ball. We would have seen probably those children that we saw were probably, I'm guessing, grade 4 children. At this level, we could still play level 1 Smashball, but it would be tosses, tossing it over the net, overhand, tossing it over the net, underhand. So that's how we would play Smashball. Everything for the 6 to 8-year-olds would all be about tossing the ball, throwing the ball, not hitting the ball. Session 2, again, I've set it up the same way with a warm-up activity, a number of little activities and games, and then that leads into Smashball as a summary activity where some of what they've learned, some of the movement patterns that they've learned here, being able to toss and catch, being able to toss to a partner, are used in level 1 Smashball, level 2 Smashball. Again, I know I haven't talked about those yet. I will in just a moment. But I'm attempting to illustrate how the activities and little games are used or applied to play Smashball. And again, this is just an example of session 3, same kind of format. And again, the level of the Smashball. So here's an example, and I'm going to go through this. I believe that everybody that's on our call tonight was here last week, so I'm going to go past this. This was the Beat Your Record activity that I showed you last week, the little video of these boys on this side, the little girls on the other side, and all that they're trying to do is they're tossing the ball back and forth. Their goal is to get as many tosses and catches as they possibly can. So they're working on tossing the ball, throwing their ball to the partner, but also catching the ball. So this is an example of one of the activities that would lead up to being able to use this in a Smashball game. Here's another activity. I didn't show you this the other day. In this activity, and there's no audio for it, in this particular activity, what the children are doing, they're on, as you can see, on teams on opposite sides of the net. They are trying to roll the ball to the other side of the net so that it goes to the back of the court. And after a given amount of time, say a minute, the teacher or instructor has them stop, and then they count the number of volleyballs that are left on their side of the court. And again, there's no audio to this. So this is just an example, another example of an activity that would be a lead up to eventually playing Smashball. Okay, in terms of the program resources now for the Learn to Train. Volleyball Canada has put together an activity bank that would be suitable for grades, teachers that are working with children in the grades 4 to 6 range. It's called the Volleyball Canada Activity Bank. It's part of a community coach program. And in the email that I sent out the other day, I made reference to this. Volleyball Canada offers community coach training, and there are dates that were outlined in the email that I had sent to you. Now, there is a charge for those, and those training sessions usually take in the neighborhood of about 3 hours. At the end of it, you are considered a certified community coach, and you have access online, if you want to print it, of course, to the activity bank. The activity bank, basically what Volleyball Canada has done is they've taken activities and games from the elementary program and modified them to suit the grades 4 to 6 Smashball training level. There is a free app wherever you get your apps. It's called a Smashball Trainer app. It was developed by Volleyball Canada. And what it is it provides examples of lesson plans or training plans. It includes much of what I showed you in the print document, warm-up activities, planning for the various activities. And in some cases, there are videos to show you, here's what the activity would look like, to give you help or assistance in planning. And so that is free to download wherever you get your apps. I've also posted some resources on our Sask Volleyball website. Again, a big picture, a training framework, suggestions of 8 training sessions that could be used, as well as another document that outlines detailed plans of the activities and suggestions in the training framework. On our Sask Volleyball website, there are also suggestions on how to introduce hitting, attacking. And again, this is we're talking now for those of you working with children in the grades 4 to 6 range. Certainly these resources could be used for older children as well, these teaching resources. There are print documents, and then for some of them, there are videos. They aren't Hollywood quality videos, but they are hopefully useful instructional videos of forearm passing and how to teach and instruct forearm passing, overhead passing, overhand and underhand serving. And then there is this what I call a gameplay progression. In other words, what do these different levels of Smashball look like, and how do they build on one another? Now, here's an example of, quote, the big picture for the Learn to Train, the grades 4 to 6. It's set up in a similar manner. So there are 8 sessions and I guess I should back up here. These are suggestions. It's not a case that you must follow these. I've put this together based on my own experience, and I use it with community Smashball programs that I run. So it's an example that may be of use to you if you were wanting to use a Smashball program or develop one or incorporate one in your school or in your community. Now, the difference here is that you'll notice that as part of the big picture here, there's a skill focus. So what I've tried to do here is I've tried to, again, combine skill development with Smashball gameplay in each of the sessions. So there's again a warm-up activities, then other training activities and games. And so here's an example. The first training session, I focus on arm swing and attack, not approaching to hit, not jumping to hit, but just arm swing to attack. So as you can see here, I've got an example of the method that I use, the steps, I guess, that I use when I'm introducing and teaching arm swing and attack. And then that is used when we get to the gameplay. And so the first training session that I do with Smashball children taking a Smashball program, or ones that I'm running, is I just do level 1. As you saw there, it was 2-on-2, where the person that has the ball is hitting the ball over. So it's fairly straightforward. But it is a nice way to introduce them to the idea of attacking the ball, but they've had some practice here with these various activities. Session 2, you'll notice here that I typically start to introduce some overhead passing, some very basic overhead passing technique. At the end of this, the children are not able to set the ball, but they have some of the fundamentals: hand positioning, how we want to finish after we pass the ball, but they aren't using it yet in Smashball. It's still levels 2 and 3 would still be tossing and catching the ball. But we're starting to, or I'm suggesting that we start to introduce some of the basics of overhead passing and incorporating Smashball. I like to incorporate it early on in some of my training sessions. Oh, just a second there. Let me just go back for a minute. What I want to do here is I'm going to pause, and I'm going to show you a video here that it's on our website. But it does I think a good job of illustrating these different levels of Smashball. Here we go.
So in level 1,
and I'll just pause just for a minute. I'll preface this. This video is, I think it was very well done. It was done by Ontario Volleyball Association. The children that you're going to see in this video, I would say the majority of them are probably in grades, maybe grade 6, but the majority of them are probably in grades 7 and 8. And the majority of them are very experienced volleyball players. Now, I say that because in the Smashball programs that I run, whether it's community programs or club programs, the children that I'm working with are new to volleyball. They are not incorporating the kind of skills that these children in this video are incorporating. I say that I don't want anyone to watch this and think, oh my goodness, my children, the children I work with, wouldn't be able to do this. That isn't the case. What I'm showing you the video for is to illustrate the progressions from level 1 and so on. Also, when this video was produced, Volleyball Canada had 5 levels of volleyball. They have since subdivided some of those. In Saskatchewan, we've subdivided the levels into 8 different levels, just to make smaller, more incremental changes or progressions.
Smashball, you catch the ball, run to the net, toss to yourself, hit it over. Okay? The other team is allowed a bounce if they need it. They're going to catch the ball before it bounces a second time, run to the net, hit it back. Okay? Team with the ball is the team to serve. Doesn't matter who won the last point. So there's just one contact each time that is a smash over the net. In level 2 Smashball, we add our 3 contacts that we use in the game, which are to the net, along the net, and over the net. We're going to catch and toss for our first contact, so it's a throw to the net. We're going to catch and toss for the second contact, so it's a throw along the net. And then our third contact, like every stage of Smashball, is a smash, and we're going to spike it over. You're still allowed 1 bounce every time the ball crosses the net. The team that has the ball is still going to serve. Fundamentals are really important here because we're going to start seeing tactics and strategy as we use our 3 contacts to move players and find different hitters. In level 3 Smashball, we add a second striking motion. So our first striking motion that we have for every levels is the smash, when we send the ball over the net. Now we're going to add a striking motion for our along the net contact. So it's a catch and toss to the net. We're going to volley or overhead set along the net and then smash it over. In level 4 Smashball, we still only have 2 striking motions, but we switch our overhead set, right, to a catch and toss so that our first contact can be a striking motion, and we're going to make a forearm pass to send the ball to the net. Right, now it's a catch and toss for our along the net contact, and as always, a smash for our over the net contact. In level 5 Smashball, it's very, very similar to true volleyball. We have all 3 contacts as striking motion. So we have a forearm pass like you were just doing to the net. We have an overhead set or volley like we did in level 3 along the net, and as always, the smash over the net. So it's a forearm pass to the net, overhead volley along the net, and a smash over in level 5. Just like our other levels of Smashball, the ball can bounce once every time it crosses the net, but it doesn't have to. The player with the ball is going to serve to start each rally. We aren't going to worry about who won the last point. We're just going to play as soon as we can. Okay? And we want to have all 3 contacts with a smash to send it over.
Okay, that's simply intended to give you an example or illustrate different levels, different progressions of Smashball. As I'd indicated, that if your children are at that level where they're jump serving and spiking at the way those children are, then they're way beyond what I do with, or what I'm able to achieve with the children that I work with. But the idea is the progression. We're going from level 1, where everything is a toss and catch, to the point where at the end, we want to have the children being able to use as many, if not all, of the volleyball skills in the gameplay. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of time here to go through an example of what we've done in Saskatchewan with these different Smashball levels. Now, the summary sheet that I'm going to outline here is available on our website. So, you know, there's no need, if this is of interest to you, there's no need for you to, you know, screenshot it or anything like that. But what I want to do is I want to go through this just to illustrate the progression, how we can weave the various skills into the Smashball gameplay. Now, with that said, again, when we're talking about the passing for the fundamentals, for the grades 1, 2, and 3, all of the passing is toss and catch. We're not talking about forearm passing, overhead passing, serving, setting, anything like that. It's all toss and catch. Whereas when we talk about the fundamentals, or pardon me, the learn to train, now we're talking about trying to weave and incorporate the volleyball skills into the Smashball gameplay. So this diagram that I have here, this summary sheet, now summarizes the Smashball, the progression of one level of Smashball to the next, and just the skills that could be incorporated as part of that, as the skills are developed. So you can see here, we've got the level, and I'll sort of unveil this as we go along, the number of players. So the first level is 2-on-2. We've seen examples of that already. And over here, the skill progression. So the first skill to be introduced is attacking. It's a 2-on-2 format. And the way that I've laid this out, now when I say serve, it's basically I'm talking about how the ball is introduced. in most cases, most of the levels with the children I work with, whether it's the fundamentals or the learn to train, we don't serve until probably I've worked with the kids for 6 or 7 weeks, training once a week. So initially it's just a toss over the net. The receiving team, this is what how they will play the ball, then the set or how the ball gets to the hitter, and then the attack, and then what happens on the defending side of the ball, the team that's receiving the ball. So in terms of level 1, and I'm just illustrating it down here at the bottom just to give you a sense of the movement of the players. On the video, you saw that there were 3 players on each team, so there was no need to substitute or anything like that. Well, that's not terribly realistic in our classrooms, where you may have you may have to have 4 or 5 or more children on the court at a time. So we'll imagine that this is either a badminton court or a volleyball court that's divided in half. Anyway, it is, quote, a court. So you can see that we're going 2-on-2. So at level 1, the player that has the ball, in this case I'm saying it's A1, has the ball, they're hitting it over the net. B2 is retrieving it. Now, to incorporate or to get children involved in the game so we don't have lots of children standing around, what I suggest is that after the player that attacks the ball, that hits the ball over the net, weaves out, in other words, leaves the court and is replaced by one of the players that's at the back of the court. This increases the movement of the athletes on the court. So in this case, A1 hit the ball over, B2 retrieved it, A1 left the court, is replaced by A3. B2 has the ball, they run to the net, hit the ball over, then they leave and they're replaced. So it's really fast paced. There doesn't really need to be a lot of standing around, so to speak, on the court. And certainly you want to encourage sort of quick gameplay. They don't have to hang on to the ball for a long time. If you have the ball, you run to the net, hit it over, and leave. So that's an example of level 1. Level 2, it's a progression here. What we're doing now is that the player that's receiving the ball is not tossing to themselves to hit, but in fact they're tossing to a partner. So this is a progression. We're having a second contact on our side of the net. And you'll notice over here that at this stage we could start to introduce some overhead passing. So the second player to receive the ball catches the ball, and then they self-toss and attack the ball. So we're introducing a second contact. So that's the progression. So again, I'm using my graphic down at the bottom here. A1 hits the ball over. Again, it's retrieved by B1. In this case, B1 is tossing to their partner. They are advancing to the net to hit it over, and then they're the one that hit it over, so they are leaving and they're replaced by a player at the back of the court. So all that we're doing here is we're starting to introduce some of the notions of volleyball, that we want to play the ball to a partner. We don't want to, in volleyball, we don't want to put it over on first contact, but we want to have pass it to a partner. So that's the level 2. In level 3, you'll notice that what we're doing here, it's still 2-on-2. Everything is the same, but the difference now is that the partner on second contact that receives the ball, they're tossing it back to their partner to hit the ball over the net. So we're getting 3 contacts now. And you'll notice here, typically I suggest starting to introduce some forearm passing skills. So to see what this would look like, we've got our 2-on-2 gameplay at the bottom here. A1's hitting it over. B2 is receiving the ball. But while B2 receives the ball, their partner is moving to the net. They receive a pass. So we're passing the ball to the net. Then B2 is moving up to the net to hit. They receive a toss to hit it over the net. So what we're introducing now is the movement pattern of the ball during a regular volleyball game. We move it from the back of the court to the net, then we move it along the net for an attack. So that's the progression that we've gone through. We still have 2-on-2. So B2 has hit the ball over the net. They would leave. They're replaced by a player at the back of the court. So again, this is the transition is really quick. It's a fast pace to the gameplay. But now we're incorporating again the movement pattern that we typically see in volleyball. With level 4, the big difference here is that we're incorporating a third player. So now we've got 3 players on each side of the court, but we're playing it exactly the same way. So the only difference between level 3 and level 4 is that we're adding another player. So in this case, down here at the bottom, A3 is passing the ball or hitting the ball, tossing the ball over the net. It's being retrieved by B2. They're tossing it to the person at the net. So again, it's a pass to the net. Then the left side hitter, that side player is moving up for an attack. They receive a toss ball. They hit it over. Now, in this particular case, because we've got 3 players, we can introduce the traditional rotation in volleyball. Player in the back right exits. Player in the front right rotates back. And player at the back of the court rotates on. So now what we're able to incorporate, again, it's a subtle transition, but it's a progression where we're now, not only are we introducing the movement pattern of the ball on the court, but also the rotation pattern. Level 5 is again just a progression where now you'll notice here, and I've got it highlighted right here, we're introducing a volley. Now it's not a volley where the player is receiving a toss and they pass it continuously or without holding on to it, but it's a self-toss and volley. So we're wanting to control it, to control the movement pattern, but the setter, instead of tossing the ball as they did in level 4, they toss to themselves and volley it. In other words, overhead pass it or set it. So it's a controlled kind of a setting. So again, just quickly going through this. Right here, this setter, instead of tossing the ball for a hit, they are self-tossing it and volleying the ball. So we've talked about, they've developed some overhead passing skills. We're now using those in the gameplay. And again, we're using all of the same patterning that we did in level 4. It's just that the setter now is tossing to themselves to pass it over. I'm going to quickly go through the last couple of levels here. Level 6, what we're introducing here is a second ball, and I'll explain that all in a moment. So this is we call it a 2-ball sequence. The first ball is introduced by a player. The second ball is introduced by a coach. And we're introducing the use of a forearm pass. So again, we're weaving in some of the skills that we've been teaching the children. So the first ball is served or it's tossed in. So it's the movement pattern that we used in level 4 and then level 5, where this pass would be self-toss and volley. B2, hits the ball over the net. Once that rally is done, a second ball is introduced by the coach. It's a tossed ball. And what we're expecting is that tossed ball, because it's a nice controlled ball, is going to be a forearm pass. Whether it's B2 or B3 that's passing, they would pass it, a forearm pass up to their setter. So that's, again, what we're adding a component, a skill component to the gameplay. Now, in this particular case, the players stay in position until the end of the 2-ball sequence. Then they would rotate, and the play would they would serve to the team A. So the serve alternates between teams after every 2-ball sequence. Bear with me, there are just 2 levels left here. Level 7 builds on level 6. The difference is that we introduce a third ball. So here's the introduction of triple ball. It's a way to start transitioning to what the children would play if they were to play competitive triple ball in the club program, or some schools are using triple ball now. So it's a progression where we add a third ball to the gameplay. So it's a second tossed ball is what it is. So to look at this end very quickly, first ball is served or tossed in. It's played as it was in level 5, level 6. Self-toss and volley to the hitter. Hitter hits it over. The teams rally back and forth. Once the ball is grounded, in other words, that rally is done. Second ball is introduced, same as level 6. It's tossed in by the coach. We're expecting a forearm pass. We want the children to use a forearm pass to pass it up to the setter, and then it's a self-toss and volley. We rally that out. The difference now is, after that rally is done, a third ball is introduced. Same progression. It's a toss ball. It's passed to the setter with a forearm pass, and then it's again the rally goes on. You'll notice that the serve ball and toss ball, first toss ball, go in the same direction. So the serve went to team B, the first toss ball goes to team B, the second toss ball goes to team A. If this was a competitive format, this coach would be the team B coach. The coach tosses to their own team. In terms of the rotation, after the 3-ball sequence, we would have the rotation. And then in this case, team B would be serving to team A. They would serve. Once that rally is done, team A would get a toss ball. That was the second toss ball. Once that rally is done, the third toss ball would go to team B. Okay, and okay, there's a level 8. Basically, level 8 is just incorporating more skills into the gameplay. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly zip through this. Okay, resources. Where can these be used? Smashball is presently used by some volleyball clubs. It's used for developmental programs for, again, children in kindergarten to grade 6, predominantly grades 1 to 6. I know some community associations that use them. The community association that I'm a part of, we run some Smashball programs for both at the fundamentals level and learn to train level, and certainly in schools. This could be used in phys ed classes, in intramurals. I think that there's probably a place, if there's interest, to be able to use as an inter-school kind of a competition or event. It doesn't have to be a competition. It can just be an event. Some of the resources. There are resources on our website. I'll talk very briefly about these. On our website, there's a training resource for the fundamentals program, for the Learn to Train program, and there are the gameplay progressions. Now, when I say training resources, there's the big picture overview, and there are the detailed plans as well. And under our coaches heading, there are also the coaches resources for the skill development. In other words, you're saying, I'm not sure how I go about teaching forearm passing. Well, there are suggestions there of a method or steps that you could use and drills that you could use to teach forearm passing, and again, a video that you might use as reference as well. And then there's a gameplay suggestions as well. And there's the video that we just saw. If you wanted to see that again or parts of that again, it's there as well. I'm going to pause for not pause, but I'm going to make reference here to just a few of these resources. This is our Sask Volleyball webpage. This is under the heading of grassroots indoor programming. There's the video that we just saw, and down at the bottom of the page are these resources that I've talked about. So as I say, no screenshot is necessary. There's a training framework that we've looked at. Here's an example of the detailed plan. So for the fundamentals program, as I say, I've divided it into 8 sessions, pardon me. Here are examples of the detailed description of the various activities. So here's a detailed description, the goal, how to play, and even questions you can ask the children for the beat your record activity or throwing and catching. So this is what I mean when I talk about the detailed plans, probably more detailed than yourselves as experienced teachers might need, but it's there nonetheless. That's what I want to get at. Okay. Okay, just by quick summary here. Tonight we've talked briefly, or well, maybe in your case you're thinking not, I haven't been so brief, but what Smashball is, goals of Smashball. And again, it's just to introduce children as young as as is reasonably possible to the game of volleyball. We want them to have fun. There are two programs, Smashball FUNdamentals, which is the grades 1 to 3, grade 1 to 3 children, and then the Learn to Train, which is introducing basic volleyball skills. And we're talking now about the grades 4 to 6, can be used at the grade 7 level as well. Both of these incorporate skills, whether it's movement skills or volleyball skills, in the game of Smashball. I've talked briefly about how Smashball is related to other programs. What are some of the adaptations and why? And then talked about resources for supporting the Smashball program, online resources and the Smashball training app, and then an example of a Smashball progression. So that, folks, is the presentation, and I'm sure you're happy to see the end of it. I apologize that it's taken long, but I feel it's important to at least identify how the nature of Smashball, but how it can be incorporated with some skill development, skill progressions. So with that said, I'm going to wake everybody up.